Anyway, smashing the gangs or smashing records? Breaking news this morning. GB News can reveal exclusively that more than 30,000 small boat migrants have arrived in the UK since Labour came to power last summer.
It follows the arrival of 66 migrants into Dover Harbour overnight. Let's talk to our very fine Home and Security Editor, Mark White, who's in Dover. Mark, and the depressing thing is the boats are still coming and we're heading towards better weather too, which means I'm sure the numbers will multiply. What happened to Labour's pledge to fix the gangs? And have they not spotted anything that's happening in the United States where Trump has pretty much sorted the migrant issue?
Well, yes, indeed. I got spared a trip to Dover today. I think once a week is enough, I think, yes, for my constitution. But yes, after the 66 that arrived at 7 this morning, that took us over 30,000 since Labour came to power. But since then, you know, they're like London buses. You don't just get one, you get 3 at a time. In fact, 4 now, because another 2 small boats have made it to UK waters. They're in the process of being picked up by Border Force and taken to Dover Harbour. A 4th small boat is out there in the Channel now in French waters, speeding towards UK waters. Now, if those remaining boats, 2 of them we know, have made it, if that 4th one makes it, that's going to be about another 250 migrants to that total of 30,000. And this is important. I know it's spring, statement day and people are focused on other things, but the asylum accommodation bill alone is more than £6 billion a year and growing. If you take that 30,000 who've crossed since Labour came to power, now for a time at least, they will all be housed in hotel stock. That's £145 a night. We're talking £4.5 million a night for as long as it takes before they can be moved on to other accommodation. Even just those arriving today, 250 odd, that's £36,000 a night in added hotel costs there. And that doesn't even begin to address the wider costs of looking after these migrants in the community. So it's a real issue, and you're right to look at what Donald Trump is doing over the other side of the channel there, taking that very no-nonsense approach in closing down the border there. And it's clear from the reports we're getting back from the US that it's having a very significant impact on the numbers now crossing that border, down about 85-90%. But all the while, it's going in the opposite direction here because we're seeing not the number of migrants crossing the channel slowing down, but speeding up and hitting record numbers. We're already at 6,200 odd for the year so far, up 40% on the same point last year.
Moving on, Labour MP Jonathan Brash has said that the government
great name, isn't it?
It's a great name, Johnny Brash, should exercise its right to send foreign criminals back home.
Now, he's the first Labour MP to say this because what he says, it should be legitimate to deport the people and the government should ignore the European Court of Human Rights. So we're asking, is he right?
To debate this, we are joined now by journalist at the European Conservative, Dave Atherton, and human rights lawyer, Shoab Khan. Shoab, morning, both of you. Shoab, let me come to you first. Is he right? Johnny Brash, should we just ignore the ECHR and send people back home if they've committed a crime?
No, I don't think he is. I don't think either of those premises is correct. Firstly, ignoring the ECHR or the law for a second, that's basically a blanket policy. I don't agree with blanket policies ever. We need to look at individual cases in every sort of situation. I think that's what lazy governments do. That's what lazy thinkers think about. No one must do this ever. Everyone must always do this. That's something I just don't agree with. What do you mean all prisoners must be deported? That's just like having one prison sentence for all people. Anyone who commits a crime goes to prison for 3 years. That's such a stupid thing to say. And that's exactly what we're doing here.
Why is it stupid? Hang on, Shoab, why is it stupid to say somebody who comes to this country and breaks the law, they've broken the law of the land, so send them back to their own country where they can break that law if they want to. But why should we put them up at a cost of £50,000 a year in our jail when they've abused our hospitality in such a way?
Because there's all sorts of reasons. That they might have a British spouse, they might have British children. Now, before you say, well, they should have thought of that, but we're not talking about them, we're talking about the children. I mean, someone might have.
But they should have thought about that for the children.
It's a pub fight that went out of hand. They've been to prison for 7 days. They must be deported regardless of their disabled British child at home. I think that's ridiculous. Leave it to the judges, leave it to probation, leave it to others who can actually look at each case individually. I think it's ridiculous to say anyone who's been in prison for even 1 day following a criminal conviction must be sent home. I think that's such a stupid way to
how many people are sent home? 1 day.
System. And also, I think it's counterproductive because either you can spend 1 day in jail or 10 years in jail if you're going to be treated the same way. What's the incentive not to commit a crime?
OK, Dave Atherton, isn't it the attitude that the judges, the elites should decide? I mean, we know we live in a judicial world, a country, but isn't that the problem? Is because actually that's very detached from what most people paying their taxes feel about the fairness.
Well, indeed, I'll go one further. Let me first of all say my bar for deportation would be a 6-month suspended sentence or more. And also the other thing I would do, I'll go one further from the point of view that any foreigner in our jail that's got a 6-month suspended or actually in prison should be deported back to their original country to serve their sentence out. Now, for example, the cost of I managed to dig this up this morning. Don't ask me how. The cost of a prisoner in Albania is £3,984 a year, compared to Britain, which is £52,000 a year. Now we'd be saving ourselves millions of pounds if we deport these people. We'd have spare space for all other real criminals that we have in this country, and I think we'd be a far happier, far wealthier country as a result. But
to Shoaib's point, if that criminal has 3 children that live here at school here, can't move back, never get to see their dad, is that? You know, do you feel anything for those kids?
Well, the wife and the kids can join him in the country that he came from. You know, I'm sorry, it's not my responsibility. You know, if you go out there, for example, let's take the example that somebody Britain did want to report, Adil Ray, who was one of the abusers of little girls in Rochdale. You know, the judge said at the time of his sentences, you have shown no remorse for your crime. He did not think he'd done anything wrong. Yeah. These people should not be in this country. I've read, when it comes to sort of the grooming gangs, I've read testimony after testimony from judges that the people that are in front of them have, do not feel that they have done one scrap of of conduct wrong. And these people should not be in our country. No, I'm sorry. You make me so angry.
No, but that's exactly my point. What if he had shown remorse? What if he had immediately apologized? What if he was begging the police and the public immediately confessed? He said, I've done something wrong, locked me in there for 10 years. Does that make a difference or not? And that's exactly my point. Of course, it should make a difference. In any humane system, we need to look at each case separately. What if he has 3 disabled British children at home? Why should they be removed to Nigeria, Albania, India, Pakistan, where we know they will be mistreated?
I'm sorry.
And it's about the British children I'm talking about.
Personal responsibility. Most crimes are
one at a time, gentlemen.
Most crimes.
Yeah, Dave.
Sorry. Yeah. Most crimes that are committed, violence and grooming, for example, are premeditated crimes. These people had time to think about what they were doing. When someone goes out and these grooming gangs kept hold of these girls for years and years and years. There wasn't a case it was a one-off thing, and I've had too much to drink and oh dear, I've been a naughty boy. This was pre-planned, this is premeditated, and they went out, with malice of intent to go and abuse girls from the age of 6 to 15. I'm sorry, these people should not be in a civilized country, and they should be in their place of birth or nationality.
Shoaib, if you want to come back on that.
Yes. I mean, firstly, the very first word you just said, most criminals or most grooming. Why are you saying most then? If either you're saying all or you say, because that's the policy you're suggesting, everyone. And that's my point. Every case is different. And you're saying, this went on for years and years. What if it had only happened once?
Okay.
What if he was chatting to an underage girl once over the internet? He got sent to prison and now he's really remorseful. But no, his children should lose their father for life. I think it's ridiculous.
You must have heard that.
Hang on, gentlemen. One at a time. One at a time. Shoaib, can I ask you? I want to ask you a very specific question, Shoaib. Would you deport any foreign criminals from our jails?
Yes, I mean, I think some need to be. I don't think as many as we do, but yes, some could be. I mean, like I said,
on what basis would they go? What basis would they go? Why would you deport some and not others? Which ones would you
Because they've
deport?
just recently arrived in the country and they've committed a very serious crime. They have no family ties here. They've never contributed to the country. They never worked here. And that's the thing, I think we keep thinking about these people as if, they must be illegal here. But no, anyone who's not British, those are foreign criminals. They might have been born in the UK, been here for so many years, just never got a British passport. They might be working here, paying taxes, working for the NHS. They've got children at home. Why are we deporting them? That's ridiculous.
OK, gentlemen, thank you so much. Well, and also, all credit to Jonathan Brash, Labour MP, who's making it OK to have this conversation.
Absolutely right.
Shoaib Khan, Dave Atherton, thank you so much. Great to see you both this morning. It is a conversation we need to have. We don't have endless pots of money. We don't have endless prison cells. We need to make a decision what is right and best for this country.
And Mike Parry's right. There are 10,600 foreign criminals in our prisons.